Okay, my name is Rick Guarno from University of Arkansas Little Rock. Okay, just looking at it right now, just in a general setup. I like what you got going on here. You look comfortable. I like where your target is. I like how your target looks. One thing I'd like is to put it a little bit lower. The way you want to think about it is you want your target at the bottom of your knee, because when the ball's coming in from the mound, it's coming downward angle. So when the batter's standing up at his knee, if it keeps coming at his knee, and that's the bottom of the strike zone, which is what we want all our pitchers to do. We don't want them sitting there throwing, belt-high fastballs all day. Okay, so if the ball's coming down at an angle at the bottom of his knee, it's going to be where? Right around bottom. You leave it a little lower than bottom of your knee. So if you're giving me a target just above your knee, take that out to where the batter is. Yeah, we're talking mid-thigh here. So, we always want to err on the side of giving a lower target than possible, since as we see pitchers, they like to pitch up. That's where they miss all the time. So, but your target itself is real good, which is very underrated. Not enough guys give a good target, especially at a high school and college level, because you got pitchers who, they need that. They need something to look at. They need something to see when they throw it. When we get to the big leagues, and they're throwing for laces on your glove or the inside of your knee. I don't need your glove. Okay, but right now, that's a good target. You're showing things right where you look comfortable. I like that. Good. As far as receiving right there, that's just one pitch. It's a high pitch. I've never been a real big fan of framing a high pitch.
They give you one pitch and they tell you to frame it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So it's no big deal there. But in general, when I talk about framing with guys, the only reason we're ever framing or the way the receiving is just for the umpire, okay? Because I don't care what the center fielder sees or what the pitcher sees. It doesn't matter. They're not calling balls and strikes. It matters about the guy behind you, okay? And this particular pitch is a high pitch. There's no need in the world to frame a high pitch, because that's at his eye level. When the umpire squats down, he's over your head. That's the pitch he sees. So, right, exactly. He sees it. He decides if it's a strike or not. So as far as framing like that, but that's a good way to think about things for framing for myself. You're doing it for the umpire, okay? So the umpire sees the back of your hand all the time. If we get too much movement, that's what we don't want them to see, okay? We want them to think we're catching a ball in a certain spot, but not by moving our glove too much, because they'll just see all that movement, and their first thought, especially at the lower levels, high school and college, their thought is, well, if he's moving his glove this much, it must be because this is a ball, and he's trying to turn it into a strike or bring it back in the strike zone. So I talk about framing. I talk less about actually framing, more about catching the ball well. So if you catch it relaxed in a good position, that umpire thinks, oh, well, that was pretty easy for him to catch. That's probably looking like a little better pitch than if if you're turning your glove in or anything like that. I can go into so much more detail there, but as a general thought, you're catching for the umpire when it comes down to this. Now blocking, it's okay right there, on a very, very minor thing.
I think when you on one of the times my body came down before my glove, which wasn't good.
Yeah, one of the small things I like to teach catchers, and it's very, very important because it'll come into play once or twice a year, but it'll keep you from breaking fingers. Your glove, or not your glove hand, your throwing hand, yeah, you want it, near behind your glove in a comfortable position. Think about, take your thumb, tuck it in, and then loosely put your fingers over that. Don't squeeze, okay? But you don't want your fingers hanging out just wide open, okay? Because most foul balls come, right towards the middle of your body. If they take off a finger, something like that, now we're dealing with a broken finger. Worst thing we'd ever deal with is a broken thumb. Tuck your thumb in, loosely cover that, and that way you get a little give. If you actually do get a foul ball off, there's a little give so you're not just jamming it and breaking your thumb. But, it saved me 6 or 7 broken thumbs in my life. It's one of those easy things to do, because who gives a shit what your who cares what your what your hand looks like, really, until you're throwing the ball. But it'll save you a whole bunch of grief off foul balls and broken bones and things. Now you just point out yourself, you got your body down. Just leave it right here for a second. You got your body down before your glove. Obviously, when we do block, we want to lead with our glove. As you see where you think the ball is going to go, you want to take your glove there, and your body's going to follow. That's leading you to your position. But let's take that out of the mix right now. Let's just say, forget about the fact that you didn't get your glove down first. You know that. What I thought of your blocking, I was watching it yesterday. You're in a pretty good position. I think you're leaned over just a little too far. Okay. And it's for 2 reasons. One, on longer hops, if you're leaned over, you're taking away, a foot or so of just room. As a catcher, you want to cover as much space as possible. You're a pretty thick kid. but you're not all that tall. It's not like you're 6'2" out there. You want to cover as much ground high as you can. Also, when you're leaned over too much, when you do get that ball that hits you in the chest, that one that hits you right up top, right in your sternum, when it really bounces off, you don't want it's gonna hit off your sternum and that top hair of your chest and really ricochet down and start bouncing out. And that's not what you want. Now, if you catch it anywhere, in the lower part of your stomach, yeah, you're smothering the ball and it's great. But if it catches you up here, you want to just have just a little bit less of an angle. It'll hit you a little softer. That's the whole point. You want to be relaxed and head the ball when it hits you soft in front of you, so it doesn't go very far. When you get leaned over just a little bit too much, it starts hitting you a little harder. And now that ball hits and it's bouncing places. But as far as technique overall, pretty good right there. Go to the next one for me. Okay, and then see right there. Go back a second, just to right after the ball hits the ground, if you can. Okay, right after the ball hits the ground. Now, right now is when you got to get up, but get up, field the ball. If you got a guy in first going to second, you want to be able to throw him out. Right now, right as you come out of this, you're kind of off balance because that leaning over so far. So now, watch this. You don't stumble out, but it's just you got to put your hands down, get yourself set. It's just wasting just that little bit of time, which is all the difference when a guy on first is reading that ball in the dirt and trying to take second. That little extra time that you took, which is what, half a second at the most. That's a step and a half for that guy. If he's getting 6 feet a step or so when he's running. 9 feet's a lot of feet when we're talking about throwing down to second base. So just that little angle would fix all of that for you. Be on a good balanced position to get up and field that ball. Okay, did a good job coming out and getting outside the baseline. I like that. What's next? Throwing, or we have another blocking one? Okay. Okay, from watching your throwing, I saw two main things. Okay, go ahead. Okay, right here. Okay, your exchange is pretty good. Have no real complaints about that. Throwing to third, everything looks pretty good right there. You find the base, you're on line. Right there, stop. My only problem with your throwing on this is see your gloves get on kind of by your waist a little bit. You want it to, when you're throwing, it's all about balance. And you want to be able to mirror, both sides you should be mirror image of each other. So as you exchange right there in the middle of your body and brought your arm back, you want your glove to be doing the same thing. So your arm's here with the ball, your glove's here too. Okay? As we start to throw and you drop this down, it just kind of gets you off balance, has you flying open a little bit, and it just causes a whole lot of problems as that takes you off balance. Kind of hurts your accuracy a little bit. So keep that glove, kind of up tucked a little bit more towards your chest, just in a comfortable position. Doesn't have to be, way up or anything like that. Just the closer you get that to the center of your body, the more balance you're going to have. And so when you actually throw, you're going to be more on line, and your accuracy is going to go up a lot. Go ahead. Keep going here in a second. Now, first I'm going to talk about your footwork, okay? Your setup's pretty good. You're a little tilted towards second base, where that back foot is kind of perpendicular to second base and the front foot's kind of pointing there. I understand in a situation like this when guys are just sitting there clocking you, it's hard not to get like that. In a game, you want to make sure just a little bit more even, okay? Not totally even, but that front foot, when that's facing directly towards the pitcher or second base, it presets your body to be turned a little bit too much already. And that leads to is, go ahead, what it leads to is watch your back foot. Okay, your back foot, instead of gaining a little bit of ground or in direction of second base, keeping your momentum go forward, which is where you want it. You don't have to gain much ground. I don't care if you take a big step forward or a small step forward, but yeah, momentum needs to be on line towards second base. But right now, you're going to take your back foot, since you're already turned a little bit, and all that's going to do is come straight sideways and replace where your left foot is. So at this point, all of your movement to this point, when you're ready to throw to second base, has been straight sideways, okay? And so now, as soon as you land, now you need to take your entire body, switch your momentum from going straight sideways, and now you have to make it go forward, okay? So just think about being a little bit more on line. If you took a slightly smaller step with your right foot, that would probably help you out a little bit, okay? But and so now right here, everything's pretty good. Your glove a little bit down again, no big deal. But we talked about that at this point, so no need to bring it up now. Okay, you're in a good throwing position. You're getting a good push off your back leg. I like that. Okay, but keep going, right there. Okay, by locking on our front leg, we went from a good athletic throwing position down, driving off that back leg, using all our legs. Our legs are what throws the ball. That's what's going to give our power, especially since, it's not like we're an outfielder or infielder, we're running through the ball and getting all our momentum going. As a catcher, we have, only so much space. So you're going to need to use those legs a little bit better. You start driving off that back leg by locking out your front leg right there as you let go of the ball. it's like right when you need everything to follow through, right to second base, where you get that good backspin and carry on that ball, and everything's going right towards second, you just cut that all off, okay? It's like as if you were starting to throw and I just like pushed it, just said, no, you're not going forward anymore. Okay, that's what your front leg does. And that puts you in a position where almost like a whip, where it's kind of just inconsistent. As soon as you're ready to let go of the ball and that locks out, now instead of being right here over the ball all the time out in front, we're just a little bit, just kind of bouncing around a little bit. And if you watch your throws, some of them are right on and some of them are pretty high. And just locking yourself out like that is just going to lead to some inaccuracy. And also by doing that, you saw how your head kind of just has a little bit of jerk to it. Locking out that front leg doesn't allow you to keep going smoothly through to second base. Yeah, just a little more bent. You're in that nice throwing position. As you come up, you're in that nice athletic throwing position right here. And then as soon as you lock out, it takes everything away and puts you where you're not in control of your body as much anymore. As you come up and you're bent, you want to just throw straight through that. So with this a little softer, just so you can keep your momentum going forward. Okay? Keep going to the next one. Let me see one more here with them. Well, now let me go ahead and just watch this one, because I want to see the ball fly in the air here too. Oh, okay, cool. Look at this technology, huh? Yeah, nice. Yeah, do this for me here. Okay, so here the throw comes. You're a little offset again, no big deal, but it kind of leads you to replacing that right foot, or replacing that left foot. Okay, pretty good exchange. And there you are. Right now you're in a good throwing position, but watch where your waist is. When I'm talking about locking out your front leg, it also brings you up a little bit. So instead of having all your movement linear, straight horizontal towards second base, staying on those legs, you'll come up a little bit as you lock that out. And right there, see how you're kind of coming around yourself a little bit? You weren't doing that last time, but just that little inconsistency of locking that front leg out. So let's watch the throw. Okay, so now here you were, and you lock that front leg out. You can't get all the way around and out in front. Kind of let it go. Now the next one of these ones you put pretty on the bag, I think. I mean, that's not a bad throw right there. But see the inconsistency that it has by locking out that front leg? There's only a couple things you do when you lock out the front leg. You can either try to get up and over it, which is difficult, and as a catcher, since we don't have enough momentum, we're not going to do that. When you lock out the front leg, you'll end up taking yourself backwards, or you'll have to go around it to get that momentum towards second base. So, I mean, overall, your exchange is pretty good. Stay down in that athletic position and keep that front knee a little bent throughout your entire throw would help you a lot. Other than that, little small thing like just tuck that thumb in your hand, just for safety's sake. It's a minor detail, but it'll save you a broken finger once a year. Blocking really good, not quite so much angle, but overall, I mean, you got pretty good actions. You got a good idea what's going on here. You look like a catcher as far as watching. It's not like you have no idea what's going on. These are all minor things to deal with. I know I throw a lot at you, but there's a lot going on here, so it's really minor things as far as all that goes.